And Tom Stutzman joined us, Indiana County Emergency Management Agency. Conversation brought to you by Marcus and Mack, a law firm representing injured people. Tom, good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to have you with us again here today. We've been talking with you and with your colleagues for quite a while through this entire pandemic. And, this thing tomorrow is something entirely new. And I wanted to talk to you, first of all, about the logistics of exactly what happens tomorrow at the Indiana Mall for the COVID testing pop-up clinic. So let's begin right there. As you have worked with others around you to put this together in terms of making people get in and out smoothly, what are some of the things that people need to know?
Well, the one item that we've specifically tried to get out and to share is that the entrance is going to be in the area of the old Bon-Ton store at Indiana Mall, and it'll be in that parking lot area coming in off of Warren Road. So the easiest access for folks to get in and out would be on the Warren Road entrance, and that would avoid the construction that's ongoing on 286 as well.
Okay. If there is a big lineup of cars there, though, that might spill out onto Warren Road, correct?
Potentially, yes. That parking lot has sufficient space, and the way that they have designed the setup for this, it's going to allow them to come in off of Warren Road on that entrance, and then they'll be turning right into the parking area that's on that right-hand side of the entrance. And they've built a loop system in there that will allow those cars to double stack as they come into that space.
Mm-hmm. People can, however, come off of Oakland Avenue on either side of the mall, actually on just the one side, but they can approach it from two different sides. How do you assimilate them into the line?
Well, the staff handling the site out there with the Department of Health contractor, it has that set up that they will direct them in as just as if they were coming in there to park to go to the mall. So they can come in from either side, but they'll only enter from the entrance that's next to the driveway that goes out to Warren Road.
Okay. All right. So that should be fairly straightforward to handle, and folks shouldn't have a problem with that tomorrow and over the course of the next several days as well. What are some of the other things that will be happening tomorrow that you and your folks are directly involved in?
Well, we're going to provide for some traffic signage along Warren Road, just as warning to drivers, so that they're aware of the fact that there may be congestion at that entrance as they approach that, just to try to slow them down. Other than that, in working with Department of Health on getting this set up, the primary contractor that they have employed to perform this has pretty much handled all of their internal logistics. Our only hope is that the weather, which, it looks like it's going to be very nice weather throughout this 5-day window, is going to cooperate. We may have to support them with some additional electric power or heaters or things like that, but it doesn't look like we're going to need to do any of those things based on the long-term weather forecast.
Is it just your agency, or are others like fire companies involved?
It's just us for now. I mean, the way that Department of Health has set this up, they're pretty self-sufficient. So we have not had to engage any other local resources to support their efforts to get this done.
Terrific. So that sounds like that's going smoothly. What are some of the other things that emergency management is dealing with lately? Because as we know, you've been very much involved in all of the COVID response throughout the entire pandemic.
Well, we continue our efforts to provide PPE to the agencies, the healthcare agencies in the county that have difficulty in acquiring specific items. It seems that this week the item that's most needed is nitrile gloves. We seem to have dispersed quite a few of those over the last couple of days. We're maintaining that operation. We have 42 agencies that we supply to. It has slowed down tremendously, but it seems that we are hitting these times where we have specific items that are hard to obtain, so we're trying to keep ahead of those items for those agencies to keep them all safe.
I think you probably have a lot of different sources you have to compete with as well, don't you?
Oh, certainly, yes. Everybody's trying to procure that equipment for themselves, and the state has actually begun a process of developing a stockpile that they would like to implement for us to rotate through instead of trying to procure independently. Mm-hmm. So that is an effort that PEMA and General Services and Department of Health are establishing So as we move forward, we get out of this competitive nature in procuring this equipment.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was going to ask you, is there some sort of clearinghouse that you can go through in order to make everything run more smoothly? And that seems to be one of the solutions.
Yes, from the beginning, we have relied heavily on some of those resources from the state and federal government. For a time, through the early mid part of summer, there was materials that were being directly shipped from FEMA to a lot of the licensed nursing care facilities, and we only had to supplement those with things that they had shortages on. As we've progressed through this, it's streamlined a little bit more, and we're getting to that point where we can have a centralized warehouse at the state level that we can each rely on.
Nursing facilities, retirement communities, those sorts of things, they have been, of course, particularly hard set. Has the pressure eased on them in terms of what you're able to do for them?
Yeah, somewhat. And that has been one of those areas where we have had to support the specialized items because they haven't been able to procure them. Countywide, our case numbers in those facilities has been relatively flat, and that's a very good thing. They've been doing a tremendous job in-house in all of those facilities. At the outset, we had some little blips here and there, but things over the last several months have been very good.
I would guess as well that responses from, for instance, Citizens Ambulance Service, the various medical entities around Indiana County, firefighters and police officers as well. Those are people, they have to stay right on top of things, and you probably are helping them as well.
Yes, definitely. The agencies, the fire, police, and EMS agencies that weren't able to get something locally, and we did have a lot of folks countywide who were making donations to those agencies to keep them supplied, but in the cases where they weren't getting those local donations, we were able to supplement them with what they needed.
That's terrific stuff. Of course, being a county facility or a county agency, you have a special concern with places like the courthouse, where trials still go on and where you have all kinds of different functions happening. Supplying the courthouse, is that an easy thing to do?
Actually, it has been. We've been working through the commissioner's office and the courts to provide them with what they needed, and also the sheriff's office for what they're doing out on the road. But we've been supplying each of the county agencies that has individuals who are interacting with the public, either in-house in the courthouse or those people who have to go out and do home visits.
Yeah, and it's interesting to me, you said that there's one particular item that is hard to get now, and next week it probably could be something entirely different, huh?
It certainly is. I mean, we've gone through this cycle now a couple of times. At the outset, the N95 masks seemed to be desirous of everyone. That has kind of waned a little bit, and we're into the ear loop surgical style masks now, which is being recommended because the use of those N95 masks by just the general populace is kind of a waste of that product, whereas the surgical style masks are plenty safe, and they're much easier to procure. So we went through that cycle of N95s to ear loops. We had a cycle where we were into disposable gowns for the EMS providers and the nursing facilities. So, yeah, it is very cyclical.
Yeah, it's amazing to me how things crop up. And it's just like the toilet paper shortage earlier. Well, now people probably have big supplies of it because they look ahead and they say, okay, this is what they're predicting for this winter. This is going to be short. And by people grabbing as much of that stuff as they can right now, and you understand why they're doing it, at the same time, they put a little added pressure on those products.
Yes. And we have had our ups and downs in actually being able to procure things. We've had delays, and we still have some items that were ordered clear back in March, things like Clorox wipes. Thank goodness we've had the benefit of some donations, but those are one of the things that we have orders placed in March, and we don't foresee receiving a shipment until probably 2021.
That's amazing. Wow. All right. Well, for folks who are going to be participating tomorrow and over the course of the next several days in the event at the Indiana Mall, the pop-up clinic, patience is the number one word, and just cooperation, and make sure you're masked up and everybody's doing the right thing, correct?
Yes, definitely. The other thing, Todd, and I don't know if you've gotten word of this yet, but Aging Services, along with some other county agencies, visiting nurses is one, are going to be doing a regular flu shot clinic on the 21st.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I had not gotten that information. Maybe some
there
of the
will
others
be
have.
information coming out from them, and that's a supplement to what they typically would do in October, where they would visit all of the senior centers throughout the counties. Obviously, they can't do that this year.
Yeah.
So they're looking at setting up a drive-through flu shot clinic for those folks who would want to take advantage of that. It's tentatively scheduled right now. I think there's information coming out this week. It will be at the S&T Ice Arena, at White Township's S&T Arena, on the morning of the 21st.
Mm-hmm. And I know that you're watching stuff like that right now because, if there is a flu outbreak and there's a rush to get flu shots, then you're going to be right at the center of that.
Well, yeah, we try to keep a handle on that. It has not been easy. As you know, in the past, we've done drive-through clinics as part of our PODS exercises to provide those flu shots. It has not been easy for us to do that in the last couple of years because we have had, locally available those flu shots at almost every drugstore and doctor's office. So the public turnout wasn't what we had seen prior to it being available as readily as it is today.
But I know that you and everybody else is recommending that if people get their flu shots this year, even if they're people that never get a flu shot, they should this year.
Well, yes, it's highly recommended.
Very good. Very good. Tom, thank you so much for coming on and visiting with us this morning. We appreciate the info.
Sure. Thank you, Todd.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
There's Tom Stutzman, Indiana County Emergency Management Agency, here on Indiana in the Morning.